Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to be here with you today. How is Cancer season treating you? Today, I am going to be diving into another way we can leverage this energy to connect with more soul clients. If we haven't met before, I am Sherry Moyse, your chocolate loving, intuitive business alchemist who is here to ensure that you are making more impact, income, and connecting with those soul clients that you desire. And the way we do that is by trusting the two most important GPS systems I know, your intuitive mind, your heart mind, and the cosmos. And today, that's exactly what we're going to be diving into. Well, so the sun is in Cancer. That is our big spotlight of the moment. And when the sun is in Cancer, it is a big reminder that your intuition and imagination are superpowers. And I think that's something that we can ignore. And whether you call yourself intuitive or not, we all have an inner GPS system that lets us know what's working for us, what's not working for us, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And it's the first thing I think that can get cut off in entrepreneurship. And that's probably the biggest mistake that we can make. And I've been there, done that, have the t-shirt multiple times. So here's what I know. All right, every day there is another opportunity to, as I like to say, hop on a magic carpet ride to explore another course, another coach, a mastermind. And it's some promise of just do this and you're going to get $10,000 months or 100,000 followers. And there's all these amazing tactics. The problem with tactics is they only work for some people. And if you're not tuned in, like I wasn't tuned in the early years of my business, you can end up being blindly guided by the experts. These are people like I believed, like they had the answers. They were there, or so I thought, and they had the success I desired. So shortest path, least resistance. Let's follow their formula. But unfortunately, the strategies they were teaching really didn't feel aligned. And I was so ignoring the little voice in my head, the nagging feeling in my gut that what I was doing wasn't right. It wasn't right for me. Other people in the room, it was working. Not everybody, but there were people that it worked for, but it wasn't working for me. Yet I wasn't trusting that. And then I went down the rabbit hole of this beautiful brain of, not believing in myself, not believing that I could do the things I'd set out to do when I started my business, and that I wasn't going to be able to make a difference, the difference I wanted to make, that I wasn't going to be able to replace my corporate job income. And I was so down the rabbit hole back then that I got to a place because I really wasn't listening to myself where it was like, okay, my husband was like, girl, you need to maybe think about getting a real job if things don't shift sooner. So it was at that point when I really realized that I had been ignoring my own inner GPS, and it was really time to listen. And I had to slow it down and dial it back and really figure some things out. And it was tough, but I did it. And part of the support in that process wasn't just listening to my own inner wisdom, it was also following the guidance of the cosmos. Astrology was a lifeline for me because it gave me direction. It gave me guidance that I needed in order to know, okay, this is what is really going to be aligned. And then it was like, that feels right. That's it. So I stepped back from the tactics, replaced what I was leaning on. Instead of the experts, I started leaning on my own inner wisdom, leaning into astrology. And then guess what? It's not that I believe in mentorship. I believe that it's not necessary, but if you want to get to the next level faster, having a guide, having someone to bounce things off of is really powerful, but it's having the right one, the one that allows you to tune in to you and not just follow some step-by-step process without any personalization. But I digress. It's another soapbox for another time. But the reason I'm so passionate about using astrology as in business is because it really lends itself to honoring that inner wisdom and getting to that truth that I say all the time. If you've been around my world for a minute, there's not just one way to build, market, and grow your business, and you can work it your way. And the more you're tuned into these cycles, the more you're listening to that guidance from the cosmos, the more you can really listen to yours. All these prompts, all this astrological guidance I put out there, I really want it to inspire you and light your intuition and your imagination. Take those content pillars, put them into the Cancer sun spotlight, and get it out in the world so it connects. But so Cancer cycle, spotlight on your imagination, your intuition. This is where you get to figure out and take a little bit of time. We've still got 10 days left in the cycle, in the sun cycle. And so you can step back and say, what does it feel like to, what do I truly desire in terms of how much I'm working, how much I have time for me, where are my boundaries, where does that all sit? And really listening to your own inner wisdom, being really honest with yourself, asking those tough questions of yourself. Are there things that aren't working, but that I've been doing because I think I should? This is really a time to connect your head and your heart. That is what this Cancer cycle wants to bring into play here. What is your heart saying? And then how can that influence this beautiful brain of yours that can get things into action in a way they can work together? Because when one is fighting the other, we're stuck, typically. We can push through only for so long before we burn ourselves out. So this cycle is really about listening and tuning in. And I had a client yesterday during the lab say she was just it felt like she was just channeling information and things that she doesn't normally aren't in her wheelhouse, but she was just listening. She was just sharing what she heard. She was sharing what was on her heart. That's very much Cancer season. That nudge, that knowing that you feel in your bones, that's that piece of it. If you're not used to trusting that and you're a head over the heart kind of person, then I invite you to see what it looks like to flip the narrative. And one of the questions I'll get asked, and I know I have to remind myself, is how do you know when it's to trust your gut, to trust that intuitive knowing, that guidance from your heart? And everybody has their own ways. I'll just give you a couple of things that I know work well for me. And it's practice. It's just trust on some level. But, if you think about something, if you consider something and tune into your body, how's your body responding? If I say, I'm going to jump into this, what does your body do? Or what is that, what is that feeling that comes up when you speak it out loud, when you think about it? Now, the key here is that when we step into something new, something we haven't done before, if that's what we're thinking about, we're stepping into the unknown. So this beautiful brain can go into fear mode. So we need to know the difference between a growth edge and actually something that's not in alignment. And typically we can sense that for ourselves. And one of the questions I like to ask all the time is, what's true about that? So, I was leading a group yesterday and we were talking about these growth edges because they're constant, right? As entrepreneurs. And, we were talking about what's your next growth edge? And then what does this brain say about that next growth edge? And inevitably they were comments like, well, I can't do that. Or, this will be what happens to my business if I do that, etc. And then, so again, asking the question, what's true about that? Because if you can feel it in your bones, if your body's leaning in, yet you're a little bit fearful, great, you're at a growth edge. But tuning in and not ignoring your heart, the heart of your business. We did an exercise in the lab on Tuesday where we were working cancer cycle business guidance and what's that next step. And I had them connect with that heart of their business first. And so that trusting that just what was the first thing that came up after they did that, after they connected, was the right thing. And sometimes that's the most important thing, is to get out of your head into your heart. Once your heart has guided you, amazing. Now the head can get to work. And that's how we can connect with more soul clients. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back around finally. Okay, Sherry, you said you're going to tell me how to connect with more soul clients. The more you're tuned in, the more you're doing business your way, the more you're doing it in a way that feels good to you, that honors your boundaries, that honors your values, that honors your message and your mission, the more energetically that's what's getting put out to the world. And your potential clients feel and see that. They see what's on your heart. Share what's on your heart. Share your passions. Share your excitement. Share. That's how people connect with you. When you try to share via a step-by-step process that's someone else's, that doesn't have you infused in it, that's when things fall on deaf ears. Now, there's all the other pieces we could play with in terms of timing, etc. But at the core of it, the more your head and heart are aligned, the more that people are going to see and feel you, those people that are meant to work with you. So, Cancer cycle advice and guidance. Tune in to that brilliant brain in your heart. Ask those questions. How are these things aligning for me? How are my boundaries? All those Cancer questions we had from last week that you can find down in the feed. Tune in using this brilliant brain in your heart. That's what's going to take things to the next level, because that is the shortest path, is trusting your inner GPS system. All right, my friends, I hope you find this powerful and helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are watching in the group, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. How much do you trust your inner wisdom? And remember, as always, you've got two guiding lights, the one here and the one in the cosmos. Tune into those. That's what's going to take you and your business to the next level. And I will see you next time.